Hey guys, Justin Watcher here from ProSportsExtra.com. I'm going to make a quick little video here because a few days ago I saw a post about something it's trending on Twitter. It was about unpopular NBA opinions. And I said, well, I got a bunch of opinions and a lot of them about the NBA, but I decided not to really say anything. It wasn't really worth my time or anything like that, but I thought it was kind of interesting. So this was kind of compounded by then we had the Dr. J quote. Apparently he doesn't rank LeBron James in his top 10. So he had two top five like all-star teams or something, and LeBron James wasn't in on it. And obviously that's ridiculous, and that's not a whole different thing to go on by that, but that's just ridiculous in itself. But the reason why he was apparently he let LeBron know that he was like the godfather of the super teams or something, and that was a mark against him. So he wasn't in his top 10. Completely ridiculous, of course. So this goes back to my unpopular NBA opinion. So as the title shows here, here's the thing about super teams, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to break it to you, but everybody is guilty of being in a super team in the NBA. It's true, that's just the way it goes. If you want to make a case for a team in the past 20, 30 years that wouldn't be, you could maybe argue the Pistons in 2004, but you still had Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, you still had Billups, you had Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince. I mean, so you still had the All-Stars there, but, maybe not the Hall of Fame players that everybody knows and loves. But again, if you want to make a case there, but let's just go through the list. I mean, of course, you have LeBron, all of his teams. He had Dwayne Wade, he had Chris Bosh. Of course, everybody knows about them. And then even in Cleveland, he had Kyrie Irving by him. So, he had the thing right there. Kevin Love ended up joining him. Of course, everybody knows about the Lakers last year. So we had Anthony Davis. And then you just go through the list. I mean, Tim Duncan had Tony Parker. Of course, he had Manu. He had everybody there. He even had Robert Horry hitting threes. And then you have Robert Horry over with the Lakers, who, of course, had Kobe and Shaq. How can you argue against that? And then Pau Gasol. And, of course, Kobe. Then they started winning some championships. And, of course, Shaq, he started ring chasing. He got one. Dwayne Wade, of course, in Miami. He got one. And you go back a little bit further. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but the 2 years that Michael Jordan was gone, guess what? Hakeem Olajuwon was just stacked with lineups around him, so there was no issue with that roster at all. There's a whole ton of all-stars on that team. The years Jordan did play, obviously Scottie Pippen was there, so everybody knows about him. They had to bring in Dennis Rodman, and then you go back to Dennis Rodman. What about the Pistons? Well, then we're talking about the bad boys, and then we got Isaiah Thomas, and then you got the whole crew there that were beating people up, and they had a stacked lineup of people. And I know we go back to Michael Jordan real quick, but he spent first 5, 6 years? Guess what? He didn't win an NBA Finals in those years. It was only until they got obviously a better coach and, of course, a better lineup. So again, we can argue that all day long, but those are the facts. And then, of course, once he had the lineup around him, then they started winning championships. So you keep going through. Well, everybody says, well, in the old days, nobody did that. Well, of course not. They would never do that, right? Well, let's take a look at those Lakers and Celtics teams. You tell me if those are super teams or not. You tell me how those stars won. Seems to me the stars were already on the team, so building super teams or not, they were all-stars on all-stars on all-stars. They were surrounded by great talent, so seems like a super team to me. So we can go through this all day long, but that's the truth about super teams. To win in the NBA or even in a lot of sports, you need stars around you. That's just the way it is. So again, ProSportsExtra.com. I just want to get this unpopular NBA opinion out there again with the whole Dr. J not listing LeBron in his top 10 of all time. Again, a laughable opinion. And hey, maybe you think this is a laughable opinion, but either way, this is my opinion. So ProSportsExtra.com, and of course, Justin Watry at Twitter. So of course, you can find me there at Justin Watry. So until then, everybody have a good night.